Let's do it. Hump Day basketball. Cincinnati, Ohio. We've got Oklahoma. We've got Xavier, a combined 8-0 on the year for these two schools. With my partner, Steve Lavin. I am Eric Collins. Let's take a look at the tail of the tape and see how these two teams compare.
Both these teams offensively hitting on all cylinders. Less of a sample size. We look at the Sooners, only 2 wins. But Xavier now with 6 W's under their belt.
Well, before we tip it off, take a look at our starting lineup, sponsored by Jeep Grand Cherokee. For the Oklahoma Sooners, who actually already played a conference game, they won against TCU on Sunday. Harmon, Reeves, Williams, Brady Manick has been just sensational to begin his year, and Kerr Queth up front. Xavier 6-0, Scruggs, Johnson, Odom, with Carter and Freemantle. That's a veteran bunch. They've been together a while, and they've won a lot together.
On both these teams shooting the ball well from distance, also taking care of the basketball in terms of turnovers, and feeling good about themselves. As you mentioned, the big win for the Sooners in conference play against TCU, and the Musketeers going to Cincinnati to get a win against their rival Bearcats.
Third time these schools have played. 1969, a game in Huntington, West Virginia. Game in 2002 in the NCAA tournament, and now as part of this Big East Big 12 battle. Tap is won by the visitors from Norman, Oklahoma. Oklahoma starts on offense.
You're going to see the Sooners space the floor. There'll be ball screens, 2 or 3 on some possessions.
First shot of the game is missed by Austin Reeves, tapped around, and eventually up and through. Kerr Queth, give him a deuce. Now, that's something that Xavier's going to have to deal with. That was some stick-to-itiveness on the glass. Xavier, last time out, they took on Cincinnati just down the road and beat the Bearcats 77-69. That game was on Sunday.
Well, the length of Kerr Queth on display early for the Sooners at both ends of the floor, with the tip in, and they're providing some resistance at the rim on defense.
Here's Reeves, the transfer from Wichita State, took an extra step, and he's caught. So a travel gives the ball back over to Xavier. Lon Kruger, one of the great names in college basketball for the last 4 decades, now in its 10th season at Oklahoma.
Well, as good as it gets, his teams always play with purpose, in a cohesive manner, stout defensively in their approach as well. And he's been able to win at different stops, different areas of the country. I think his time in the NBA was a positive in terms of bringing that NBA flavor back to the college game as well.
Lon Kruger has gone to the NCAA tournament with 5 different schools. That's a record, folks. Off the bounce, throwing it through. Nate Johnson, how do you do? He is off to an absolutely torrid start shooting the basketball this year.
Yeah, slow closeout there. Lon Kruger won't be happy. Got to get a high hand on shooters.
Working up high, interior pass. Harmon finds Queth. Give him a deuce. Queth's got 4, all 4 for Oklahoma.
That's that ball screen. They'll give you different looks in terms of pick and pops, pick and rolls.
Nate Johnson made a 3 a moment ago. This time feeds Freemantle. Top of the key, Carter. Shot clock is down to 7. Scruggs left alone. Can't leave a kid from Indianapolis open behind the arc. Just can't do it.
Well, he picks up right from where he left off against the Bearcats on Sunday. 6 of 10 from the field, 20 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, a block in 31 minutes. A productive line for the Musketeers leader.
Quest got all 4 for Oklahoma. Only played 2 games this year. And Reeves knocked off his course, and he'll go to the free throw line, which is not unusual. He's averaging 12 free throws per ball game. There's Travis Steele. He's got a gleam in his eye. 3rd year as the head man after replacing Chris Mack, and 6-0. You can't scoff at that. That's more wins than any other team in the country so far this year.
Yeah, and they're playing in a very cohesive manner, and they have depth They've added some new pieces this week, and it's the best roster. We saw Marquette and the improved depth that they have. I'd say the same for Xavier, as improved a team as there is in the Big East.
Last year, Xavier 19-13, 8-10 in conference. Shot by Carter, missed everything. Harmon over to Reeves. Manic hadn't done much so far, 3 minutes into the game. Well, there you go. Ask for it, you'll get it. Brady Manic, a triple.
In such a quick release, catch and shoot, the quick trigger, shot mechanics on point.
He has 9 3-pointers coming into this one. 9 3-pointers in just 2 games. 8 coming in 1 contest. All back and forth basketball. Second 3 for Paul Scruggs.
Yes, Scruggs sees the finish line as a senior here at Xavier and just taken complete command of the Musketeers' attack.
That was impressive. Kerr Queth, 7-footer, falling down almost with the left hand. Queth's got 6 of the 11 for Oklahoma. Freemantle, wonderful basketball.
There's that take, aggressive, comfortable with the handles, can take slower, bigger defenders off the bounce, can slide in against slower defenders, and play a power game as well.
We're less than 4 minutes into this game. We've already been tied 3 times. Leach changed hands 4 times. In transition, score the goal. Dwan Odom, assisted by Freemantle.
See if Kirkwith gets some touches here. The Musketeers have gone to a zone defense, a different look, trying to disrupt the offensive rhythm of the Sooners.
Lefty 3. Harmon off the front of the iron. 1 and done. Rebounded by Johnson. And Scruggs is fouled. It's a reach-in foul called on Davion Harmon.
Well, some early marksmanship here, Eric. Manic, the catch and shoot, torching the nets. Scruggs, counterpunch, right back at you.
FS1 College Basketball is sponsored by Jeep Grand Cherokee. Jeep, there's only one. A lot of offense early in this one. 15-16 remaining in our first half. Xavier up by 2.
Some good 2-man basketball here. Watch Kirkwith with the screen and then the release, and an excellent pass by Davion Harmon. And Kirkwith, demonstrative, puts up the hands, the big target, and with that length, he's 3 for 3 here early, taking all high percentage shots. And that's why we saw Xavier mix their defenses, go to a little bit of zone because of the high percentage look the Sooners were having.
Queth is now 10 for 12 shooting the basketball on the year. You'll take that. Into the game for the first time, Alondis Williams replacing Queth. Also into the game for Xavier, Brian Griffin. He just took that shot and missed it. Jalen Hill also on the floor for Oklahoma. He wears number 1.
Musketeers back in their preferred man-to-man defense.
This is Umoja Gibson over to Reeves. Crafty move, Davion Harmon.
Now Harmon able to maneuver down low because the threat of the Sooners' 3-point attack stretches the Musketeers and really creates the space and the time to operate down low.
Colby Jones now into the game. This is Jones over to Griffin. Thought about it. Knocked out of bounds by Gibson.
Harmon with the nice little 2-foot jump stop. Again, like a cat, gets your balance, and then no help, so he's able to pivot and find daylight to get that shot off.
Man, we've had wholesale changes here in the first 6 minutes of the game. Adam Kunkel now on the floor for Xavier, along with Kiki Tandy. And Tandy gets his pocket picked. This is Harmon the other way.
Good choice. Musketeers scrambled back. Wow.
Quick quick trigger.
Launch a rocket when in doubt.
Open man is Tandy. And someone didn't read the scouting report. Tandy left open, makes you pay. 13th three-pointer on the year.
And Tandy, due to break out, had only 2 points against the Bearcats. And expect him.
How do you leave that man open? Good golly, Miss Molly. Brady Manick, another three.
I love the sound as the ball splashes through the net. Just ripping the cords. That's a pure shooter.
Freemantle, the only starter remaining on the floor for Xavier. And we've got a foul called against Oklahoma.
Both teams, lock and load, like to attack that three-point line. So you look at Tandy from long range, and then,
oh my goodness,
two-man game and just the kickback to the big fella, Manick. And you've got to run him off the three-point line, make him get to the mid-range or take a shot in between a layup and a three-pointer.
That last foul was on Davion Harmon. We saw him upset. There's a reason for that. That's a second foul. Harmon averages 17 points per ball game. He has to sit now. Shot is blocked. Jalen Hill got a hand on it. It's loose on the floor. Carter picked up by Griffin, who throws it through with the right hand.
Well, Griffin takes shots that he can make. Only taking 4 shots per game, but shooting 70% now on the year. My kind of player. Understand your role and make zero-footers. There he is cleaning up the boards, gobbling rebounds like the Cookie Monster.
Brian Griffin last year led all of Division II in rebounding. Decided to want to play Division I for his senior year, and so far so good.
He gives the Musketeers a different look when he comes in the game.
Pretty move all the way to the cup. Looked like Danny Ainge in his BYU days. That's Austin Reeves.
Yeah, and Xavier slow in transition, caught napping there. Didn't have the vision. Got to see the ball and then stop the ball. Easier said than done, but that's the objective in transition defense.
18-18. Not even 8 minutes into the game. Good hands by Griffin, and he's fouled. So the senior will go to the free throw line.
Yeah, just an old school. Last time we had the Musketeers, we spoke of the physicality of a hard hat, a lunch pail, strong work ethic.
Brian Griffin played at Mercy College, the Mavericks, Division II, and was just otherworldly. Massive numbers, led the entire country in rebounding. But with that body, 6'8", 230, he said, you know what, I'm going to give Division I a try. And so far, it looks like he can compete at this level, no problem.
Yeah, I'd expect his minutes to increase as this season goes along. And that may be the biggest challenge for Travis Steele. It's a good problem to have, a luxury, but his depth creates some challenges in terms of, you know, rotations and substitutions and having to really feel the game because he can go big, he can go small. They've got a lot of versatility defensively with this lineup.
That was Trey Phipps working the ball around the perimeter. Freshman shooter. Back of the iron, Gibson. Rebounded in traffic by Scruggs, who's back on the floor. And behind the defense for a moment, the pass goes off the hands of Griffin.
A fortuitous bounce, opportunistic. Griffin, throw it down, big fella. Reeves in transition, maneuvering to the hoop.
Cam Newton and the Patriots look to keep rolling against Aaron Donald and the NFC West leading Rams. That's tomorrow, 7:30 Eastern on Fox, NFL Network, and streaming on Prime Video. That's been a fun game to watch if you like offense, and who doesn't. Look at the shooting. Both teams shooting exactly 53.8%, 7 of 13 from the field.
Yeah, and in rhythm, making that extra pass, finding the open man for high percentage looks.
On those 7 makes for Oklahoma, they have 4 assists. On those 7 makes for Xavier, they have 6 assists. So good team basketball so far.
Well, Xavier 4 of 5 from the three-point line in this game. And going back to Sunday, they were 7 of 18 over Cincinnati in their big win against their rivals. So they picked up where they left off against Cincinnati.
Scored the goaltending on Queth.
And this is the best shooting team that Coach Travis Steele's had. That's been one of their vulnerabilities, or an area they've struggled with, is they go in the desert, go through offensive droughts because the inability to make threes. Now it's becoming a strength of this team. They don't want to fall in love with it because they're very efficient inside the three-point line as well in terms of finishing, but it's an excellent balanced attack in terms of personnel.
C.J. Wilcher into the game for the first time for Xavier. Zach Freemantle back on the floor as well. This is Hill. High arcer. Gets his own rebound. Hill again, left open at the free throw line. This time it goes through.
Well, excellent execution against the Musketeers zone defense. Get the ball right into the gut, the heart of the defense there in that high post area where you can shoot it, pass it, make your reads, even drive it if the zone doesn't help.
Only 2 starters in the game for Xavier. Man with the ball, Scruggs and Zach Freemantle. And Scruggs having a night already in double figures. Hasn't missed a shot, Paul Scruggs. Trey Phipps, he can stroke it. I'll tell you, Lon Kruger today was just beaming, talking about his freshman guard, Trey Phipps. He said he's shooting it like he's still back in high school, which he meant as a compliment. Carefree basketball.
Yeah, no conscience. Sometimes as a freshman, you're not aware of the significance or the moment. And as a result, just play more freely.
First miss of the day for Scruggs. Got his own miss and misses the turnaround. He's upset with himself.
You can't do that. Don't compound the missed shot by fouling.
So we've just played a whisker over 10 minutes, and already we've had 7 ties and 5 lead changes. We can only hope it stays this way the entire way through. Brady Manick back on the floor for Oklahoma. Oklahoma's playing without Davion Harmon, who picked up 2 early fouls. Oh, man. Reeves, heck of a move. Earns 2 free throws.
Yeah, there's the high ball screen by Manick. A little 2-man game, and he then takes it towards the sideline, and the change of direction, change of pace, the crossover, finding the driving lane to pick up the foul. A lot of poise on display offensively by Reeves. Not going to get rattled, never in a hurry. Airtight efficiency.
His free throw is going to be his 28th free throw of the season. He's only played 2 games in 10 minutes.
Well, that's that aggressiveness, but making good judgments as well when he takes it in, knowing how to draw fouls, use his body effectively to shield the ball, but also pick up fouls.
All right, Coach, Davion Harmon back into the game. Important player for Oklahoma. He's got 2 fouls. Do you ask him to play any differently?
It's discipline, trusting your players to not reach, gamble, lunge, sky up on shot fakes, and at some point you're going to have to play with foul trouble through the rest of this season. So the sooner you become accustomed to that, no pun intended,
like you
the
did
better.
There. Oh, look at that one. Trey Phipps fired that one up from Mount Holly. Freemantle hit a 3 a moment ago. Catch and shoot, Nate Johnson. Oklahoma is now 3 years removed from the one-and-done Trae Young era. Brady Manick was a freshman playing with Trae Young 3 seasons ago. Manick comes short. And the ball knocked loose by Phipps. Stays with Oklahoma. Queth. That's about as far away as he's ever going to shoot the basketball. And it still goes in.
A soft shooting touch. Xavier won the foul in the backcourt there, but tough to spin dribble in traffic because of the blindside help. And that's what led to the Sooners forcing that turnover.
Oh, Freemantle has ripped through a couple in a row. He's now got 8.
Yeah, both these teams sizzling hot offensively.
Rims look like manhole covers. Queth is fouled by Johnson. So Kirk Queth will go to the free throw line.
Freemantle getting free. Got to get a high hand, close out with any space. Bottoms. Timeout.
Offense hadn't been a problem for Xavier. They lead Oklahoma 29-27. Two-headed monsters at Freemantle, Paul Scruggs.
And comfortable in terms of their ball movement. Scruggs, an improved shooting stroke. Very comfortable on that release. Working without the ball for the catch and shoot opportunity again. And Freemantle, the big fella out top who can see over defenses. And Freemantle again parries one from long distance.
How about Zach Freemantle with those 2 made three-pointers? He is now 9 for 21 from behind the arc on the year. Austin Reeves up and under, doesn't get the roll. Rebounded by Odom.
On Xavier, over the last 2 games now, 13 of 26 from the three-point line. And it's infectious, contagious. When your teammates start knocking down shots and you're sharing the ball, then everyone starts to join the party. It's that democratic approach that we're seeing from Xavier this year. Very similar to Marquette in many respects in terms of the turnover of their roster and how they've reloaded in such an impressive fashion.
Sooners down a pair. Reeves gets a screen from Queth, dribbled it off his shoe, and tried to get it back, is guilty of the foul. That's the first personal foul on Austin Reeves.
Yeah, that one, the degree of difficulty, a 9 on a scale of 10. 1 to 10, that is. Trying to dribble through too many defenders. That is a strength of his. You want him to continue to be aggressive, but also use prudent judgment.
Colby Jones comes back into the game. He replaces Paul Scruggs. Colby Jones, freshman from Birmingham, Alabama, played his first collegiate game over the weekend against Cincinnati. Jones. Skip pass into the corner. Johnson. Bottom of the well.
A great pass by Jones. Attacks the gap. Utilizing the dribble. And a precise pass. Right into Jones' wheelhouse in his shooting pocket. Make him a better shooter by putting it where he wants it.
Reeves. That possession was all Austin Reeves. 9 points for Reeves. Queth has 8. Manick has 6. Jones stops, starts, gets his pocket picked by Manick. And again, Reeves dribbling in traffic. This time finds Phipps.
Nate Johnson with the push.
Phipps a rebound. A lot of guys, you write down different numbers next to their name: points, assists, rebounds, what have you. With Phipps, all you need to do is points. He's out there for one reason: shoot the basketball.
The hired gun.
Nice dipsy-do. Bucket for Alondas Williams, his first. Junior from Milwaukee. Freemantle. Half hook, a beauty.
Now Freemantle able to split that trap down low. Reeves and Manick just didn't close the door on that double team.
Already 2 men in double figures for the Musketeers. Freemantle and Scruggs. Phipps. This kid's fun to watch. Man, can he stroke it.
The sniper. Marksmanship.
Freshman from Tulsa, Oklahoma. He's got a long way to go if he wants to be the best Sooner out of his high school. He went to Booker T. Washington. Same alma mater as Wayman Tisdale. Oh, heck of a move! Dwan Odom, and he's fouled.
Odom with excellent body balance here as he turns down the screen and just the acrobatic, the pirouette off the dribble and
Wow.
over the top of Kirkweth. No easy task.
We're told he's got a 43-inch vertical. So he used a good chunk of it to get the bucket to fall. Now a free throw to make it a 2-point lead again. Into the game for Oklahoma, Rick Isanza. First time we've seen him on the floor. For Xavier, Kiki Tandy back in. Back and forth, nip and tuck.
Kirkweth so quick on his rolls.
Back of the iron, rebounded Freemantle. No one else in the country with 6 wins so far this season. Xavier stands alone. Oh, friendly roll for the sophomore Freemantle. Just killed it off the glass.
Nodding his head saying no one can check me.
It's 5 for 5 shooting the basketball. Oh, terrible pass. Leads to the run out Johnson.
Good aggressiveness there by Johnson, just laying on that passing lane, almost inviting the pass and then pouncing on it like a DB, and Oklahoma wants a timeout, Eric. Freemantle down low, the ruggedness puts the shoulder into Manic's sternum and keeps him ground bound for the finish. Johnson in transition. The runaway, timeout.
Xavier leads Oklahoma by a score of 41-35. Wonderful offense so far here in our first half.
Well, Freemantle feeling it and doing it in a variety of ways. Fakes the dribble handoff, then attacks the gap here from out top, knocking one down. The back down dribble, splitting 2 Sooners for the jump hook across the middle. And a perfect game for Zach Freemantle.
5 for 5 shooting the basketball with a couple from distance. He's got 12. Scruggs has got 10. As a team, Xavier is 7 for 9 from behind the arc. 3:52 remaining in our first half. With Steve Lavin, I'm Eric Collins. Phipps leaves, had a turnover just a moment ago, and Lon Kruger said, you know what? How about you come out for just a moment? Umoja Gibson back on the floor for Oklahoma. Manic can't convert at the rim. Loose, Freemantle clears.
Good set out of a timeout, well devised by Lon Kruger. Sooners just not able to convert. Point blank bunny there by Manic.
Griffin back on the floor for Xavier. This is Freemantle. Lost the handle. Gibson the other way. Oklahoma 2-0 in a year. A win against UTSA and a conference win against TCU. That was on the road. Back of the iron, Manic. Batted out, cleared by Freemantle.
And a good defensive possession there by the Musketeers. Much better pressure on the ball, not allowing Oklahoma the comfort to window shop over the top of their defense.
That was a bad pass by Colby Jones, much to the chagrin of Travis Steele.
Xavier shooting 57% from the field, 7 of 10 from long distance, 70% from the three-point line. Big numbers.
Reeves. Bottled up. Williams.
Another good defensive possession there. Colby Jones with a nice wall up off that dribble penetration. And then good scramble and contest.
Now it's Jones who looks to the bench, gets instruction. 15 seconds to shoot. Jones. Beautiful shot. Had to get it over. Queth, who was on the closeout.
Well, you love it when you have a freshman who's influenced the game at both ends of the court. Good defense in the prior possession, then knocking down a shot on offense.
Largest lead of the game for either side. 10-0 run for Xavier. They lead by 9. On the block, this is Manick. Turnaround. Oh, he looked like Larry Bird. I've seen Larry Legend do that exact same thing with a similar look.
Bird-esque. A little bit of Tom Chambers going back in time as well.
He had a 25-point season one year.
But doesn't have the vertical jump of Tom Chambers.
Mark Jackson about that vertical.
But the skill and facing the basket and the comfort level is similar to Chambers.
Freemantle offensive carom. Oh, man. Hotter than a pepper sprout. Hadn't missed a shot. 6 for 6.
What an offensive display we're seeing by the Musketeers. 8 of 12 now from the three-point line. And amazing to think that the prior couple seasons, that was a deficiency, an area they struggled in. Not the case.
Turnover. Numbers for the Musketeers. Finished with 2 hands. Freemantle. First half of his dreams. 7 for 7 shooting. 16 points for the sophomore.
Well, reward the big fella. Let the big dog eat. Give it up.
Coming up on the Chief Halftime Report, Rob Stone, Jimmy Jackson, the great one, and Casey Jacobson look at this year's Player of the Year contenders, and we'll have first half stats and analysis. So far, so good for Xavier. X marks the spot when you're talking about Zach Freemantle. He is 7 for 7 shooting the basketball, Coach.
And 13 assists for the Musketeers, and Freemantle, the beneficiary of a team playing in a cohesive manner and finding the open man. Excellent execution here early in this half for the Musketeers.
Some great power forwards over the years at Xavier. Aaron Williams, Tyrone Hill, David West. The list goes on and on and on. Brian Grant. Zach Freemantle putting his name up on that list when it's all said and done. Reeves, stop and pop. Beautiful move for Austin Reeves.
Yeah, beautiful. Off the bounce and able to slam on those breaks. Create enough separation, and with his size, money.
And Oklahoma down by 9. He's going to have to wait on their heels as Xavier's going to have the last possession of the half. Scruggs tapped around by Griffin. And in and out. Manick the rebound, and that'll do it for our first 20 minutes. That was a fun first half. Well played by both sides. 8 times we were tied. We had 11 lead changes, and we had perfection for one man. Zach Freemantle, 7 for 7 shooting, 16 points. We'll take a timeout, take a drink of water, grab a breath. Back with halftime in a moment. Welcome back, everyone. Getting ready to play our second half here in Cincinnati, Ohio, the Cintas Center. Xavier already the best record in all of Division I basketball, trying to get to 7-0. Coach Steve Lavin, tell me how they got this far.
Well, 13 assists against only 5 turnovers, and sharing the basketball, distributing it, crisp passing, just a tied-together approach offensively. And it all started with their defense. We're looking at the long bombs. Freemantle with a good look from distance. And Colby Jones getting involved as a freshman, very productive. But it really was the close that was impressive. 14-4 run down the stretch, and that was over the last 5 minutes of the game. So the Musketeers really tightened the screws defensively on Oklahoma, and that created offensive opportunities in transition.
First half stats sponsored by Jeep Grand Cherokee. Both clubs shooting the basketball well. Maybe a little wide rims here on a Wednesday night at the Cintas Center.
Well, think about this. Last 60 minutes for the Musketeers, the last 3 halves, they're now 15 of 27 from long range.
All right. How about Scruggs and Freemantle combined behind the arc? 4 for 4. All told, they've got 26 of the 48 points for Xavier. And, wow, holy Byron Larkin. Xavier on the season, they average 7.3 made threes. They've already passed that. They're sitting on 8. They double it up, that would be 16 three-pointers in the ball game, which would be something to write home about.
Well, and if you're Oklahoma, it puts you in a bind when a team is shooting the ball from distance so proficiently. You have to pick your poison. You take away the three-pointers, and now there's driving lanes. There's more time and space for the Xavier bigs to go to work. So no easy answer when a team is smoking hot as Xavier is.
Well, something to look out for Oklahoma. Davion Harmon came into this game averaging 17 points per ball game, but because of early foul trouble, he only played 8 minutes in that first half, only took 2 shots. He's only got 2 points. So you figure he's going to try and get his at some point.
Well, and that's the advantage Xavier has this season with the depth. They can absorb an injury. They can absorb some foul trouble, and they really don't have a let-up. There's not a big drop-off. When you look at this team, they go 10 deep.
Paul Scruggs keeps that pedal down, and he's whacked on the arm, and he'll have 2 free throws. Early in the season, Scruggs going over 1,000 points in his 4-year career at Xavier.
You know, you hear coaches and players talk about the game slowing down with each year of experience, and you're seeing that early here in Scruggs' senior season, just making better judgments. Doesn't mean he's slowing down in terms of his ability to beat people off the bounce or be aggressive, but the way you see the game through a different lens or prism leads to better choices. When to distribute the ball, when to attack the rack, when to pull up at the mid-range.
Williams had his shot pinned by Freemantle, and it's Xavier basketball.
And we talked about offense, but again, the defense being tied together. Freemantle coming over there, just nothing but leather on that block shot.
Freemantle didn't miss a shot in the first half. Gives it up to Scruggs. Mismatch. Scruggs. Got it. Well, he's got 5 quickies here in our second half.
And there's the dilemma. You know, Mantle dug down on the post because of the threat of Freemantle. But then Xavier makes you pay. And Mantle not able to get out in time. Manic, that is.
Harmon trying to make up for lost time. Takes it to the cup, and he's fouled.
Well, take a look. You're going to see Manic help on the post against Freemantle, and then just late, too much airspace for Scruggs for the catch-and-shoot opportunity.
Harmon to the free throw line for the first time. He is a perfect 6 for 6 free throwing on the campaign. Sophomore from Denton, Texas. It's the home of North Texas University. Nora Jones and Mean Joe Green, among others. Wow. First 2 points of the second half for Oklahoma.
Another archaeological dig on your part. Hold that nugget out.
Everyone's from someplace. Everyone's got a backstory. Scruggs. Oh, wow. Look at the elevation and score it. That's Nate Johnson. Flying through the air with the greatest of ease.
Yeah, a double on the post by Oklahoma, trying to limit the effectiveness of Freemantle, but that put the Sooners in transition, and quick ball movement by the Musketeers for the bucket.
Manic trying to post up. Size advantage working against Scruggs. Fires a 3, in and out. Rebounded by Queth. Extra possession for Oklahoma. Queth's been quiet after making his first 4 shots. He's not been a factor. In the paint. Rolls around and in for Reeves.
Well, and Queth hasn't, in fairness to him, touched the ball. They haven't distributed the ball to him. Not a lot of touches out there.
And truth be told, there hadn't been a lot of offensive rebounds either. Everyone's making their shots. Can't even find your offense rebounding the basketball. Carter, the senior, his first field goal.
Crisp ball movement. and precise passing on display. I'm impressed with the pinpoint passing, and that goes a long way to helping a shooter when you put it right where he wants it.
Oklahoma in trouble. Reeves back of the iron, run and done, rebounded Carter. In and out dribble, Scruggs. Johnson! What an unbelievable offensive display for the Musketeers.
Yeah, the fireworks on display early and throughout and continue.
This was back and forth in the first half. It's now an 18-point stiff arm for Oklahoma, or for Xavier. Williams, very good driver. Alondas Williams.
Tough shot, made it look easy. You know, Xavier looks in better condition, which would make sense. They played 6 games against the Sooners, who only have 2 games under their belt.
Again, Johnson, exact same spot. Might as well just put an X down there. X marks the spot for Nate Johnson. Good golly. They're 12 for 17 from behind the arc. Oh, my goodness! Alondas Williams says enough of that.
Well, there's an answer.
Scorched earth. What a ball game. Power dribble, and Odom is pushed. Well, Nate Johnson doing his thing. He's made a couple of three-pointers from that exact same spot. Not to be outdone. Kid out of Milwaukee, looking like the Trell Sprewell. Alondas Williams, how do you do? FS1 College Basketball is sponsored by Jeep Grand Cherokee. Jeep, there's only one. Xavier up big, but Alondas Williams stealing the show a moment ago.
Working off that high ball screen and just cocks the ball back and throws one home with velocity and a rim rattler. You see Scruggs there wisely deciding to not contest. Didn't want to pick up the foul, number one, and then maybe didn't want to get his arms caught in the rim.
Discretion, the better part of valor. Well, for his troubles, Alondas Williams is going to catch a blow right now. Game will go on without him. 15:27 remaining in our second half. Colby Jones into the game for Xavier, along with Kiki Tandy. Brian Griffin as well. This is Griffin up high. Jones looking like Curly Neal. Shot clock down to 1. That's the first missed shot of the game for Zach Freemantle. He says thanks for nothing. He got thrown a grenade. Nothing like getting the ball with 2 seconds left on the shot clock. Jalen Hill into the game for Oklahoma. Still plenty of time for the Sooners. Very good offensive bunch, but they need to get going soon.
So next game for Xavier is against Providence. If they were to win that game, I wouldn't be surprised if they don't go from being unranked to top 15 in the country in terms of the polls.
Yeah. That's a big jump, but you got to recognize a team that's unbeaten with the most wins in the country.
And in dominating fashion to this point against Oklahoma.
Davion Harmon, that was a 2, about the longest 2 possible. Foot was on the line.
Well, and plenty of time. If you're Xavier, you want to continue to run your sets aggressively, be purposeful in your approach. And if you're Oklahoma, you want to get stops, put a string of stops or shutouts together to crawl back into this game, cut into the deficit.
Reeves. And a warning, Colby Jones. I'm not sure what kind of warning that was, but it was some kind of warning on Colby Jones. Ball's going to stay with Xavier. But a lesson for Colby Jones. of dribbling, and Tandy lost it. And a timeout wisely called by Harmon, who was surrounded. 13:51 remaining in our ball game. Back to Cincy in a moment. Xavier continues to impress. They're 6-0 on the year. They lead Oklahoma by 15.
Well, Eric, we look at the preseason. Here is Xavier. I see them moving up and finishing much higher than 7th in the league. Just the way they're playing, both offensively and defensively, their overall team depth, their personnel, too strong to end up in 7th place. I see them finishing in the top 4 in the Big East Conference.
Yeah, they're going to start off conference play on Saturday at Providence. Then they got Seton Hall in Chicago against DePaul, against Marquette, and then home against Creighton. That's their first 5 conference tilts. All right, both teams have shot well in the first half and now the second half.
Yeah, and they have work to do here in terms of closing out against Oklahoma. Lon Kruger's teams aren't going to go quietly into the night. It's not in their DNA.
Shot missed inside by Hill. Offensive rebound and stick back. That's the first basket of the game. Just checking in for the first time. That was Victor Iwakor.
The first goal here is, again, to put together a string of stops if you're Oklahoma. Easier said than done when you're facing the piping hot
Griffin. Chance for a three-point play.
A high percentage finisher. Good give up by Scruggs. And Griffin able to get the angle and then put the ball off the glass high enough. Chance for the old-fashioned three-point play.
Can't close out the three-point play. And so the lead stays at 15 for Xavier. Reeves and Harmon playing keep away out front. Reeves in the paint. Bottled up. Now the post up. Manick. I'll tell you, there's a lot there. I'd give it to him way more often than he's gotten it. He's got 10 points.
Well, and there's the intelligent choice offensively to post him up, take advantage of his size against the smaller defender.
Jones walled off. Pulled a string on it. Ball stays with Xavier. Scruggs. Paul Scruggs have a night.
They just keep coming. The number of offensive weapons, impressive.
He's got 18. Freemantle 16. Johnson 16. Iwakor no. Loose. Rebounded by Hill. Manick. You betcha.
Manick using that size and skill down low, taking his game inside.
Manick 6'9", 231 pounds. From Hera, Oklahoma. Freemantle. Rare miss for him. Griffin. He's got hands like vice grips.
Scruggs, the senior for the Musketeers. A little shot fake. Put the defender in the popcorn popper. Bench is loving it. Timeout.
I like me some Brady Manick. He has been fantastic tonight. Oklahoma trailing Xavier, but don't blame this man. He has got some wonderful moves, Coach.
Yeah, 6'9". He's got the smaller Colby Jones on him, and wisely able to just take it over the top. Got a little bit of Larry Bird, Jack Sikma, Tom Chambers.
Look at you.
Dirk as well.
Well, the facial resemblance is dead on, I think, at least. Larry Legend and Brady Manick in the same sentence. A historic game for Brady. This is his 100th career game with Oklahoma. Congratulations. Heck of a player. You can win a lot of games with guys like him.
A little love for the mustache, too, right? Little Billy D. Williams, Burt Reynolds, Mark Spitz.
Mark Spitz.
Cheech from Cheech and Chong. How about Frank Zappa? Tom Selleck was a little bit later than the 1970s legendary mustache.
Iwakura, where you been, partner? Didn't play at all in the first half. Comes off the pine. He's got a couple of buckets. All right, don't look now. We got a 12-point ball game.
Oh, there it is.
Poke away. Iwakura is fouled. Star it! Chance for a three-point play out of nowhere.
Now defense, creating offense, getting into the passing lane. They're fully extended with that denial and absorbs the hit. Good body balance, puts it down off the window, and an opportunity for an old-fashioned three-point play. And most importantly, he makes this. It gets the deficit under double digits.
Born in Nigeria, high school in Texas. Misses the chance to go to single digits. Still 10-point lead for Xavier. And Scruggs is fouled. So Paul Scruggs, one of three captains on this year's edition of the Musketeers, goes to the line.
Just seizing the opportunity. Oklahoma doesn't help. Opens that lane, allowing Scruggs to get to the hoop.
Back into the game for Xavier, Nate Johnson. He's had a ball game. Into the game for Oklahoma, Kerr Queth. Queth is still perfect. 8 points on 4 for 4 shooting. Just 2 games for Oklahoma. Their first 3 games were either canceled or postponed. So they got a late start to their season. Well, Xavier's been playing right through. Already 6 games on their ledger.
Well, and the more you play together, both practices and game opportunities, like musicians that rehearse or play together, you gain a better sense for one another, and the performance improves. And that's where Xavier has a big advantage over the Sooners, who only have 2 games, and now this being their 3rd.
Harmon. Queth. That's his first miss. Tapped around and saved wonderfully by Scruggs. Giving it up. That's a senior. Corner 3, Freemantle. Got it.
Like good execution. Put Freemantle in the corner with the hot hand. The high ball screen sucked the Sooners defense to the interior, and that leads to the kick out for the open 3 ball.
Huge difference in the second half has been the 3-pointer. 6 of them for Xavier, none for Oklahoma. Hill.
Some zone defense here by the Musketeers on this possession.
And who's the ball out on? Originally thought it was going to be Xavier Ball, but maybe Lon Kruger won an argument.
Scruggs into the first row, right to the bench of the Sooners, and then the nice off-the-bounce delivery to Freemantle.
They keep the ball with Oklahoma. Sooners down by 15. 9.5 to play. First meeting in 18 years between these two schools. Last time they met, 2002 in the NCAA tournament. Hill. Shot clock is down to 3. Gonna have to do something. And was that a travel or shot clock violation? Either way, it's going to be Xavier Ball.
Well, Xavier with 20 assists, Eric. And that's about where they've been all year on average. We take a look at the shot clock violation, just not having awareness. And Jalen Hill, sophomore,
So now turnovers, 7 of them for Oklahoma. Xavier has 8. Xavier ball, 9:04 to play. Musketeers up by 15. A lot to like when you watch Travis Steele's club. Play well together. They got wonderful offensive skill.
And they have the opportunity to be the best defensive team he's had since taking over for Chris Mack.
Carter a little bit short. Rebounded in traffic by Trey Phipps. Phipps made a couple of threes in the first half. Manic got it.
Well, you give him any daylight to get a shot off, and it's bottoms.
3 out of 5 from behind the arc.
You have to stay attached to him. Chase him off that three-point line.
Behind the defense, Freemantle. Now at 21.
Great pass there over the top by Kunkel.
Loose. And it's an over and back. Ball went off of Reeves' foot, and because of the pressure by Scruggs, it's a turnover. Xavier ball.
Well, Xavier able to go over the top. No hands up, no ball pressure. Kunkel able to window shop and deliver a dime to Freemantle, who puts it down off the window. I like the pointing the finger to his teammate for sharing the ball.
Is that a John Wooden thing?
The only time you point fingers is when it's to a teammate for making an assist. Don't point fingers, no excuses, no whining, no sniveling. Don't lie, steal, or cheat. Coach Wooden had a lot of good ones.
Was sniveling really one of them?
Absolutely. No whining, sniveling, or complaining.
14-point game. Xavier trying to get to 7-0. They'd be the only team in the country that can say that. Somehow unranked. Kunkel, he was floating a little bit to his left. That may have caused the miss. Hill. Oh, man. What a save. But it goes right back to Manic. Phipps.
A lot of activity by the Musketeers. Aggressive defensively. Active feet, active hands, alert.
Catch and shoot Johnson. This kid can stroke it. His 5th three-pointer of the night.
15 three balls for the Musketeers.
Loose ball picked up by Johnson. Johnson on the year came in shooting 51% from deep. And he's got another! He's 6 for 8 from deep.
Smoking hot.
Hotter than a pepper sprout. Hotter than the surface of the sun. Joyous evening for Nate Johnson.
Nate Johnson doing it all, Eric. The save into the stands. Had a little popcorn, then fills a lane. In rhythm. Timeout.
It's been all Xavier. Somewhere, Alexander Dumas smiling because Athos, Porthos, and Aramis have nothing on Scruggs, Johnson, and Freemantle. Look at this version of the Three Musketeers. They've got a combined 63 points. That's actually more than Oklahoma has as a team.
And the 16 threes tie a school record. Impressive. The confidence flowing. There isn't forcing. I mean, these are open looks because they're playing hot potato, moving the ball so efficiently, and putting the ball right into the shooter's wheelhouse where they're comfortable and can take it right up.
So Xavier has 7 minutes exactly remaining to break the school record. Sitting on 16. Manic hit on the wrist by Carter. And Brady Manic to the stripe.
You know, just thinking back 33 years in basketball, I'm not sure I've seen a team shoot the ball as well, this kind of outbreak, and not necessarily forcing. In other words, they're still getting good looks at the basket. It's still a balanced approach.
And Travis Steele, of course, He's got Butler in his blood and a lot of years with Xavier. Both those programs known over the years as technically sound, skilled programs where shooting is valued.
This is a 7th place Big East team.
No.
Wow.
Kunkel leaves it for Freemantle. There's your record. The 17th three of the ball game for Xavier. They're 17 for 26 shooting threes. Williams crawls it over the front of the iron. Almost got a feel for Oklahoma. They played well, but they just haven't been able to stop Xavier. Scruggs hounded by Gibson. The dump down and the rip away. I'll tell you what, I got to give more credit to Trey Phipps. He actually has filled out the stat sheet a little bit. Bounce pass, easiest two of the night for Freemantle.
Well, and that sequence right there is emblematic of the Musketeers' season to this point. Sharing the ball, alert, intelligent, searching or investigating a high percentage look, whether it's from the three, whether it's in transition, or in the paint.
Harmon's had an off night, averaging 17 points through the first 2 games for Oklahoma. He's only got 6 this evening. Really got derailed with 2 first-half fouls. Again! Freemantle back-to-back chin-ups.
Freemantle with the screen, then the release to the basket, a good target hand, and Scruggs delivers the dime. Surgical Xavier is tonight in their offensive approach.
Remember, this is an unbeaten Oklahoma team. Already 1-0 in Big 12 play as they defeated TCU over the weekend. And an awkward fall.
Well, Freemantle here with the record breaker. Great rotation. Here, the recipient of a dime by Scruggs for a little chin up on the rim. And just an excellent 2-man game. Like the way he's got the hands up, gives the target for Scruggs to throw to.
This guy hadn't played at all. First 2 games of the season was anchored to the bench. He's getting some tick here in the second half, and he's been impressive. Not as impressive as Zach Freemantle. A new career high. The sophomore's now got 28 points. He's only missed twice. And one of those misses was forgivable. He was throwing a grenade tail end of the shot clock and just said fire it up there. And he had to from 30 feet, and he came up empty. Looking for a 30-point night. And it goes off of Fremantle's leg. Is 30 a magic number for you as a coach, Lab? Would you keep Freemantle in the game just so he could get 30, or you say, you know what, your night's done?
Time score, worried about injuries, you know, the next opponent.
Good catch. Core.
Good pass as well, and delivery by Jalen Hill.
Core's got 10 points all in the second half. 5 of 6 shooting. Catch and shoot, Johnson. Oh my goodness. I love this guy's shot. It is picture perfect. Nate Johnson 7 for 9 from deep. A year ago, he was playing in the Big South for Gardner-Webb. I think he competed at the Big East level. Core. Last touch by Manick. It's Xavier ball. Well, we get a chance to catch our breath. How about the performance by Nate Johnson and Xavier? All over Oklahoma.
From the WWE Thunderdome, Kevin Owens continues on his collision course with Roman Reigns en route to their showdown at TLC. It's an all-new Friday Night SmackDown, live at 8 Eastern, 7 Central on Fox.
Well, the Xavier Musketeers have smacked down the Oklahoma Sooners. They have made 18 three-pointers. Coach, they're 18 for 27, which is 67%. Realistically, when you were at UCLA, when you were at St. John's, if your team took 27 threes in a practice, would you expect to make 18 out of them?
Well, it's the biggest change in the game when you look at the three-point line. The clock first, the shot clock, and then the three-point line. And what at one time was seen as an approach that was not sound, to rely on three-pointers. Rick Pitino in college basketball here in the U.S. kind of changed that thinking. But doing the math, the three-point attack has been the way to go. And ironically, in its first year, the three-point line, 1987, Bob Knight, who was not a proponent of the three-point line, ended up winning a national championship because of their success with Steve Alford and company in cutting down the nets for a national championship.
Well, the night is done for Nate Johnson, for Paul Scruggs on the floor, but Zach Freemantle. So Travis Steele going to the bench and giving a blow for the final 3 minutes and change for some of his biggest stars. You'd imagine Paul Scruggs will be the next to lead the ball game. He's sitting on 20 points. Kunkel.
You know, you go back in the first half, it was tightly contested. Those final 5 minutes, Xavier goes into the locker room on a 14-4 run, and the momentum carried over into the second half. Well, that's really where they separated. A 1-point deficit turned into a 9-point lead going into the half.
Bullet pass from Scruggs out to Wilcher. Well, Oklahoma, they'll try and get right. Their next game is back at home in Norman on Saturday. They're going to take on Florida A&M, the Rattlers.
Well, and speaking to Lon Kruger today, it was clear that he knows they're a work in progress, and because of the missed practices, being shut down because of COVID, not having exhibition games, not having scrimmages, and only having 2 games under their belt coming into tonight, you could sense that he's taken the long view and demonstrating some patience with these unusual circumstances, but they'll get better, as his teams always do.
So Scruggs, as we thought, leaves and gets a hero's welcome. 20 points, 4 out of 5 from behind the arc. He finishes with 8 assists and 4 rebounds. Real nice game for Scruggs.
Well, he's stringing together, you know, game after game. His numbers against the Bearcats on Sunday were impressive, and has just continued making winning decisions and choices.
The 19th made three-pointer for Xavier, Kiki Tandy. Xavier is 19 out of 30, just a tremendous percentage.
Yet there's not enough superlatives for this type of shooting performance. Just unconscious marksmanship on display. What I like about Xavier is, while they're putting up big numbers, they're doing it in a purposeful way, an intelligent approach, and it's a balanced attack as well. And that's a credit to Coach Travis Steele.
Final minute and a half of this one. Tandy. Offensive rebound, Wilcher, who is grabbed on the arm. And the freshman from New Jersey will go to the line. Well, for Travis Steele, already 7-0 with tonight's win. And now going to start Big East play against Providence in Rhode Island. And then you got Seton Hall, you got DePaul, you got Marquette. We've obviously been impressed by the offense. Have you seen enough defensively out of Xavier here in the non-conference portion of the schedule to think that they've got a chance to be a factor?
Yeah, their numbers are trending to be even better than last year. And they were solid defensively. They didn't complement their defense with this year's version of their offense. Right now, they are obviously one of the hotter teams in the country when it comes to perimeter shooting, and that's a big change from the past 2 seasons. I think it's their overall depth that's impressive because they wear teams down in a cumulative manner. They go to their bench, but there's no drop-off in terms of the quality of talent, players that step in.
Oklahoma still fighting, and they'll have free throws. Davion Harmon, one of their starters, still in the game, but he's had a subpar game, and he's still on the floor just trying to work out the kinks and think about the coming games.
Well, there were some numbers in terms of what we were just talking about, the Musketeers defense. Oklahoma comes in averaging just over 93 points per game, and they're sitting on 76 with under a minute to go.
That'd be better days for Brady Maddock. Maddock finishes with 17 points and 4 rebounds. His partner in crime, Reeves, finishes with 13 points. Deontay Miles rolls to the cup with the left hand.
Yeah, nifty footwork, agile, and the finish.
Just come at you in waves.
Well, one of the great things I have in team depth is your practices simulate game conditions. Because of the 5-on-5 in practice, when you've got this much depth, it creates the competitive mindset you need when you step in to games.
Travis Steele has called off the Dogs. He's saying no more shots. Shot clock is off, and so they will stay just a whisker below the century mark. But a win is a win. Xavier goes to 7-0 on the season. They set a new school record for made threes in a ball game. They make 19 of them. In total, there are 3 different players for Xavier who finish with over 20 points. Freemantle, Johnson, and Scruggs. What a ball game. So Xavier wins 99-77. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back with final thoughts from Cincinnati in a moment. Fantastic all-around performance by the Xavier Musketeers. They scored 99 points on the Oklahoma Sooners, and their big 3 of Scruggs, Johnson, and Freemantle, all with 20 points or more. We're joined now by head coach Travis Steele. And Coach, right out of the chute, just congratulations. It was so much fun to watch. You guys are now 7-0. Can you guys play much better than what we saw this evening?
I know this. We shot the ball really, really well. You know, we played against a really, really good Oklahoma team. Obviously, Coach Kruger is a Hall of Fame coach. You know, we were just, I think we got in a great rhythm. Our ball was really moving on offense, and obviously our guys were making a lot of shots.
Coach, along those lines, you know, from last year, or really the past 2 seasons to this year, such a transformation in terms of the ball movement and seeing the ball go through the net and your team depth as well. What have you focused on? Obviously, recruiting your personnel is part of it, but what are the things you're doing on a daily basis that has led to this type of shooting proficiency?
You know, number one, we've really tried to make it a priority recruiting shooting, right? You know, and because you can't hide non-shooting. You can't, not in our league, there's too good of coaches. But at the same time, you know, our guys, man, we got winners. We always do what the game tells you to do. Land on 2 feet. You know, if a guy helps, don't overcomplicate it. You kick it out, you drop it down. If nobody helps, you score the ball. And when we have that much space on the floor, man, to operate, man, it gives our players a lot of room to create.
I'm really enjoying watching Nate Johnson play. Obviously, he's new to your program, but this is just a wonderful get. Nate Johnson can shoot it as well as anyone I've seen playing Division I so far this season.
Yeah, he can obviously really shoot the ball. You know, he came from a really good program down at Gardner Webb. He's been very well coached. He's made a huge impact on our team. He can shoot it. He can really defend. He adds an element of toughness that we really need.
Yeah, Coach, you closed the half on a 14-4 run. Went from down 1 to up 9 going into halftime. What were the adjustments? Because you were trading baskets early against Oklahoma, and it seemed that momentum with that strong close carried over to the second half.
You know, we started getting stops at the end of the first half. You know, we switched up our matchups. We went with a perimeter guy on Manic there for the last 4 minutes of the half, and I thought that really helped. You know, obviously he's an elite-level shooter. You got to make him dribble the ball, and we put Freemantle on one of their guards who wasn't as good of a shooter, so he could kind of play off of him.
Coming off your big win against Cincinnati, there was no letdown. Now you top that performance and big win with just a fireworks offensive display. And, you know, after the Cincinnati game, you had some fun with the kids. You showed some generosity as well in terms of picking up the tab. How do you top that? I understand there was $2,000 put down for the kids. So are you going to 4 tonight? $4,000 or $5,000? What are we doing tonight post game?
You know what? I'm probably going to be going home. I'm going to watch this game, and I'm going to be getting ready for Providence. We have a little fun. The shootout is the best rivalry in all of college basketball. So every time we beat them, as I'm a head coach, it's an extra 1,000. So it was 1,000 last year, 2,000 this year. In the future, it'll be 3,000.
Nice. I'm rolling with you. I just want to carry the bags or be your caddy.
Hey, Coach, thank you so much for your time. Fantastic stuff. Love watching your team play.
Thanks, guys.
Take care, Coach.
Travis Steele doing fantastic things down there in Cincinnati. His team is off to a 7-0 start on the season. There's you look at the final numbers. 57% shooting. Lav, you got to put that in bold. The 19 made threes, a new school record at a school that knows how to shoot the basketball.
It was a dandy.
Yes,
they
it
were
was.
on fire. Hotter than a
pepper sprout from partner Steve Lavin. I'm Eric Collins saying good night, everybody.